thank you for joining me. Hello.
Hello.
Nice to see you. Yes, be at ease. So, Thomas CREACH, let's start with you.
Yes.
You're the technical director and co-founder of hydrogen producer LHYFE, which was set up in 2016.
17.
And, true?
17.
17?
Yeah.
No, you said 16. And you will be the world's first company to install an offshore hydrogen production unit at SAMREF, or have you already installed it? Not
it's, yet. Yes, soon.
It's installed. Great. So tell us a bit more about that project. What's so specific about it?
Yeah, and perhaps also some word on LHYFE, in order perhaps to present LHYFE, if some, yes, probably not on LHYFE, but so LHYFE, we are a renewable hydrogen producer, so meaning that we develop and we finance our own production site. We manage all the EPC work, so the engineering, the procurement, the construction, and after we operate our own production sites, meaning that we sell hydrogen to our customer on mobility usage and in industry. We have first hydrogen production site in operation in Vendée, in Boin, to be precise. This site is connected to 3 wind turbines, so it's a direct connection, a direct cable between the wind turbine and our production site, and we are using seawater to produce our hydrogen. So this site is in operation, so meaning that today we sell hydrogen to different customers on mobility, logistics center. So through this site, in fact, we prove that renewable hydrogen is a reality of today, and that we can have an availability of this production site in order to provide hydrogen to different consumers as a logistics center. We have just done also our first initial public offering, so meaning that now we have a pipe of projects, of 93 projects, and of 4.8 gigawatt, all around Europe. And indeed, we really believe in offshore. We really believe in offshore to use this renewable energy, which is more stable, which is more available. And indeed, also in order to prove that we can today produce hydrogen offshore, we have 2 demonstrations. So the first demonstration, which is our first production site in Boin. Why is it like a proof of concept of what we can do offshore? It's because we are again connected directly to this wind turbine, and we are using seawater. So it means that all the process, all the hydrogen process is completely representative of what we will have tomorrow offshore. And indeed, the second step is to produce offshore. So we will be the first to produce hydrogen offshore in SAMREF, so in a test area which is operated by École Centrale. And we have a partnership in order to develop to deploy this production site with Chantiers Atlantique, with GRIZAUD technology, with Plug Power, in order to be at sea in 2022. So currently the barge is in Saint-Nazaire Harbor, and we install all the process on this barge in order to be able to produce offshore in September 2022. Yeah.
Okay, and the pipeline of 4.8 gigawatt, is that, maybe a stupid question, I apologize, is all that, these 4.8 gigawatt, are they all linked to offshore wind energy, or are they also linked to other energy?
No, these 4.8 gigawatt are more onshore development.
Oh, right.
So it's developments that we have everywhere in Europe. All these sites are connected to renewable energy sources, so sometimes offshore renewable energy sources, as the partnerships that we just exposed yesterday with WPD. We have a project to deploy 500 megawatt electrolyzer connected to a 1 gigawatt offshore wind farm. But these 4.8 gigawatt are, yes, deployed everywhere in Europe. And concerning the offshore development, our goal is to have 3 gigawatt development added to this 4.8 gigawatt by 2035.
All right, and where would that be?
I hope some of this project in France, of course. But I think today most of the projects are in North Sea and in Baltic Sea.
Right. So you said it, you cooperate with Chantiers de l'Atlantique on the project at SEMREF. Frédéric GRIZAUD, you are the director of the business unit offshore at Saint-Nazaire-based shipyard Chantiers de l'Atlantique. And you have your very own concept of hydrogen technology at offshore wind substations. Tell us more about that.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I think I have a small presentation.
Okay,
to receive it.
So, promote.
Yes, we'll explain a little bit what our strategy in hydrogen is, mostly based on our partnership with LHYFE that we signed yesterday, as some of you have seen. So?
Does it work? It's the
okay, it's over there. Thanks. Yeah, so Chantiers de l'Atlantique is well known in shipbuilding for many years. We've been in offshore wind since 2009, so early movers in France, and we also have a big face in producing green hydrogen with a motto which is start small, think big, but move fast. So I will explain it in a few slides. We have been started small, first trying to decarbonize the substations that we provide to our offshore wind customer. Today we use diesel gensets to produce electricity for emergency power. We think we don't need hydrocarbons offshore, so we developed a concept to replace those gensets by fuel cells with hydrogen produced by the wind turbine electricity. So that is the first step. This is on the market. This has seen some interest from our customers, but this is just the first step. Next step, maybe a little bit further, is that we will need hydrogen offshore for refueling ships. We can see already a lot of hybrid CTVs coming on the market based on electricity, batteries and electricities and diesel. We think we will see fuel cell powered CTVs in the 2030s. We see also interest from the fishermen. A fisherman representative 2 days ago said that we should help them in their own energy transition. So at some point they will use fuel cells. They may need to refuel far from shore. When we will have floating offshore wind, there will be a need for refueling ships with hydrogen. Again, it's small quantities, but it's a start to move further. Then we're talking about producing hydrogen as a vector, as an energy vector. This is the actual art of our partnership with LHYFE. This is a model that Thomas has described that we will put on the SEMREF which we'll be producing by September this year. So we have a 40-foot container with all the equipment, desalinization, cleaning the water and producing hydrogen to make sure that all this equipment will withstand scaling up for bigger projects. Then the next step again would be getting a step bigger, developing offshore hydrogen production platform, which will be the heart of the massive offshore hydrogen production. So we develop a module between 100 megawatt and 400 megawatt based on the LHYFE equipment, technology and know-how. So this is the art of the partnership. This is something that we are already putting on the market. We've seen a lot of interest since we announced our partnership yesterday. So basically, you produce hydrogen offshore and you carry it offshore. And you see on this concept, you have two offshore modules. One is a substation, the classical substation. The second one is the offshore hydrogen production platform. So we have a cable and a pipe. I will come back to that in my conclusion, which is better. The thing is, when you try to produce hydrogen offshore and you try to replace electricity production with hydrogen production, there's a problem of space. Space is very expensive when you go offshore. So if you're taking a 2 gigawatt offshore wind farm with an HVDC platform and you try to build a 2 gigawatt or you try to replace producing electricity by producing hydrogen, you're going to lose space. In the same volume, in a 2 gigawatt HVDC platform, you can only put 1 gigawatt of hydrogen production. So the main message, and this is something that we will work on with LHYFE, is we need to get this H2 equipment smaller, more compact, so they can be more efficient offshore. And maybe as a conclusion and an opening to further discussion with the panel is that, do we need a cable or do we need a pipe or do we need both? I think there are three basic cases. If you produce electricity offshore and then you produce hydrogen onshore. If you have space onshore, that will be the cheapest. No problem, and this is where most of your 4.8 gigawatt pipeline of project is. If you don't have an electrical connection, then you can use a pipe and directly connecting hydrogen to shore, to gas distribution network or the existing network. This would be the second best, or maybe sometimes the best solution for new offshore wind plants. Rather than saturating the electricity grid, you can directly produce gas and put it onshore. And the other case, which could work in some markets where you need to adapt the production of electricity versus hydrogen depending on demand, then you can have both. But this is our opinion, but this is a new market, so we might be wrong. This would be the most expensive and can work only in some markets. So basically, this is what we think, or how we see the development of hydrogen offshore, based on what we are developing now in 2022 with LHYFE.
And as you said, you really think this could become very big, also with your new technology, right?
Yeah, the technology we develop at a small scale is something that can grow bigger, but most of the hydrogen production offshore will be carried to onshore, to existing grey hydrogen users. This is the main target, replace grey hydrogen.
Right.
Today, in fact, you already have a consumption of more than 80 million tons of hydrogen per year. And most of this hydrogen is coming from fossil fuel. And so today, for 1 kilogram of hydrogen, you emit between 10 and 15 kilograms of CO2. So we need to find a solution, and we need to act and to win the fight against these climate changes. And I think the point today is that we all show that we can today produce hydrogen onshore, offshore, in different conditions, but we have the technology, we have all the manufacturer, we have all the company, we are ready to deploy this project. So, in fact, we just have to act, and it's why I love your sentence, 6 big but go fast. I think it's really the main things to act today and to show that it's possible.
And what do you think, both of you actually, what do you think are the main hurdles to that?
The main urgence.
Hurdle.
Hurdles.
What could prevent that from happening? No, nothing.
To be honest, yes, nothing.
Nothing.
There is nothing extremely new in this technology. We just need to scale it up. The challenge is to scale it up, so it's you can count on it for 25 or 30 years offshore. So the offshoreization, making it work safely and with low OPEX offshore is the main challenge. Onshore is you just need to bring a capacity to produce a lot of electrolyzers for cheap cost. So this question of scaling up the electrolyzer production is the main thing. But after that, it's not a big deal. And the pipe is just a pipe. So it's a gas pipe, H2 resistant, like you have thousands of kilometers all over the world.
And on all this equipment, so on all the electrolyzer, all the components needed to produce hydrogen. So it's the work that we are doing every day. We secure all the supply chain in order to be sure that we will be able to have these components available today. And I think perhaps one point is the permitting. But due to the situation today in Russia and in Ukraine, Europe have worked on a new documentation which is called Reprepared Europe, and the goal of this documentation is just to reduce all the permitting to 1 year. So it means that even this point, we will be able to manage it now.
Right.
Yeah, technically there are no hurdles, but the regulation still needs to be in place for the marketing this, for having this deployed, as you mentioned, permitting, but also the framework for the market, the support for the market, because there's the cost issue also. Gray hydrogen is still a little bit cheaper than green, so but it's getting better. It's getting close, huh, Thomas?
Yeah, and depending on the case, if you want to buy hydrogen in Pays de la Loire, I'm sure that we will sell you hydrogen cheaper than grey hydrogen.
Okay, so there is no hurdle in terms of price. That's a good thing to hear.
You two seem very enthusiastic about this technology. You think the sector shares that enthusiasm? Are a lot of people contacting you, lots of developers? Are you in touch with them?
Yeah, and also talking about onshore, from our side, we have, again, this 4.8 gigawatt of projects in development in Europe. We already have project more than 100 megawatt under development. So, yes, I think everybody is waiting now for this new hydrogen.
Right.
If you look only at the press, which is the tip of the iceberg, there is not a single day when there is not an announcement from a big company for a hydrogen project. And this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Okay, well, is there anything to add, or I think we... No?
Perhaps that one point, I think it's important to act.
Yeah.
And to develop, to deploy the project, not just to do announcements. And it's what we have been working for more than 18 months with Chantiers Atlantique. First, to work on the concept, on paper, in order to develop our concept, but we have also concrete project with this first one in Saint-Brève, and we will have a lot of other in the coming years.
Right, and we have a sketch by our lovely Fanny, who has been drawing you. I hope you don't complain about how you're represented. So it says, let's act now, scale it up. Will hydrogen change everything? Will hydrogen change everything, do you think?
Well, hydrogen will be a big part in the decarbonization. I mean, the production of grey hydrogen produces 550 million tons a year of CO2, if my numbers are right, in the world. So if you want to get rid of 500 million tons of CO2, hydrogen can do it.
Right. As you can see, Fanny is still sketching this. She's doing this live, and she's been listening in and drawing this.
Yeah, this is very good. Yeah, this is very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you both for joining me here.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for listening here and online.